Okay, good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo First here at Yeshiva Nafshi. This is our second shir, Mishna Berura. We're learning in Torah Chaim, Kuf Zayin. Person who's Mesupik, if he davened or not, what's he supposed to do? So, let's take another look at the Mechaber, and we'll go into the Mishna where we left off from yesterday. I'd like to begin, let's review the Mechaber again. Kuf Zayin.
Mesupik and Mitpalel, the Din Tefillah Davar. If somebody who is not sure if he prayed, and if he has to make tefillah nedava,
voluntary free will prayer. Meaning you have the three major prayers of Mincha, Ma'ariv, and Shachris, which are obligatory, and then at certain times, it was more common in previous generations than ours, you could have the opportunity sometimes of praying another Shemona Esrei, or two or three, actually, according to what we learned yesterday. You're really supposed to be praying constantly to HaKodesh. So that's why we allow you, in case we're in a suffix, to go ahead and do it, even though normally we're saying suffix to Rabban and Makula. So you have the prayer of Nadava. For the reason you want to add something extra special into it again, you can pray one more time every morning, according to the din of the Mechaber. So we're talking about a person who is doubtful as to whether he needs daven. That's one of the major prayer surahs, right?
If he's not sure if he prayed, Chozer Mitpalel, he goes back and davens. He does not have to add something new to it. But if it appears to him like he prayed, then he doesn't go back and pray without something new. And if he adds something new, he can daven as many times as he wants. Except from Musaf, that we don't Musaf as an offering. Shabbos v'Yom Tov eno mitpalel tefillah davar klal. On Shabbos and Yom Tov, you don't do for sure don't do an offering, an extra tefillah, Ashman Esrei. Ve'im itchel yitpalel al da'at shelo yitpalel. And if he started to pray with the thought that he didn't pray before, v'niskar she'yitpalel, and then in the middle he realized that he did pray. Posek afilu be'emtza bracha. He stops even in the middle of bracha. Afilu yachol lechadesh bal davar. Even though if he can add something new to that prayer, so he just stops right where he is.
We'll get to that. That'll be probably. I don't think we'll get to that this week. We'll see. Before we even get started, I'd like to bir halacha here.
In
Mesupik. We all have it there.
The bottom right, I think.
The extreme bottom right in the bir halachas.
Okay. Im hu mesufak ayin b'chal yadam shekatav v'hayom ein noheg din zeh. See them.
That's a sefer. Chayim. Chayim is a sefer. It's very. If I'm sure you're all familiar with the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch.
Right.
Right. It's a sefer which is similar to that, but it's more advanced.
What are you looking for?
The Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. You have here, right? You have a few Hebrew copies as well.
The Chayei Adam's down there.
Oh, you have one here? Oh, okay.
Chayei Adam right there.
Oh, wow.
Next to the purple ones. Bottom right, next to the purple ones. The two white ones.
The white ones?
On the not there. The other, right there.
Here?
The purple one. Next to the purple, not next to it. The two white ones. The two of them. Yeah. Those two is the Chayei Adam. And you thought I didn't know what you had.
Excellent.
There it is, right there, on screen.
It must be real then.
Yeah, there you are. Take a look at the Chayei. So it's very, it's the format is very similar to the Kitzur Shulchan. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think it may have been written before the Kitzur Shulchan. But it's a sefer halacha, tremendously authoritative. And now the Mishna Berura writes in the Bir Halacha here that if you take a look at the Chayei Adam, right? Ayin b'Chayei Adam, right? Shekasav da'ayom ein noig din zeh. In our time, right? Meaning a person's mesupik as to whether he davened according to the Mechaber, right? He's doubtful as to whether he daven, say for example, Shachris. He's not, right? According to Mechaber, he can daven in the Nadava. According to Chayadim, we're not doing this anymore. What do you do? That's another story, but you don't, you may just let it go. And Mechaber says you do it, and Chayadim says not. So now, the Chafetz Chaim is going to take over here. Let's take a look further.
According to what we explained in the
That'll be in the Shulchan
in
Sif Dalet.
לצורך שיהיה מכיר את עצמו ועמיד בדעתו שיוכל לקבל. That he has to know himself and that he has to be able to have in mind that he can have a concentration when he's saying it.
And you think in the conditional part of davening at Tfilas Nadava is that you have to be sure of yourself that you're going to be able to properly concentrate for the prayer.
There's two things over here, right? There's one that you forgot that is not Nadava, and then there's Nadava, which you have to think of something else.
That's right.
Right? So the first one, you don't have to think of anything else. If you're not sure, and you're davening again, it's not Nadava, you're just davening regular.
If you have to daven again, right?
If you don't remember and
Right.
you daven again,
Right.
it's not considered Nadava and you daven regular.
Good.
But if you want to do it, if you're not sure and you say, okay, I'm doing it Nadava, then you have to think of something else. So
And you have to think of something else, and you have to be sure that you're going to have proper, absolute intention, concentration when you.
So if a person doesn't have concentration when he does a regular today, then he's not going to have it when he does it Nadava.
That's exactly the point. That's the Chayadim's contention. That's exactly what his point is. Take a look at those. You'll see this in the Mishna.
Okay. וידוע בזמן שאפילו אחד מאלף לא יימצא. In today's world, there's 1 in 1,000 you will not find.
Even one in 1,000 people who daven, you're not going to find a person who davens regularly with proper concentration. He said, now look, don't give up. I mean, just because it's, just because the war seems to be over, don't give up, right? Every time you concentrate in your davening, even one word, even one bracha, right? It goes and has tremendous spiritual effects. There's no doubt. Don't say, well, since I just learned today in the Bir Halacha that 1 in 1,000 doesn't have proper kavanah. So who am I? I'm not that 1 in 1,000. I know that, right? But you could at least work on one bracha. If you've noticed that you've been daydreaming throughout or part of your Shmona Esrei, so concentrate now when you catch yourself.
Always say that a little bit slower than usual.
There are a lot of ways you can do to protect your concentration and improve your concentration. Davening slowly is one thing. Davening from a siddur is another thing. Using your finger along with what you're saying in a siddur is another thing. Right? There are a lot of different things which you can and should try to do and improve as much your concentration during the davening. But in general, it's very hard to find people who are having the proper intentions, concentration, when they're davening their Shemot Esrei in our times. We're just simply too distracted, right? There will be a Ritalin station at the beginning of every shul, you have a,
Focus.
ואם כן, אין יכול להקנות, and if so, he cannot, what's that note?
V'im kain ein yochol lehasnos. He can't make this condition. Lehasnos. That was in Sif Dalet. In Sif Dalet, we were taught you have to have this condition, right?
Of something new.
That's right. Or something new. And you're going to have proper kavanah, intention, concentration.
ולא נהיר לניוד דתי.
Oh, so that was the up until now has been the chayadim, right? That it doesn't work in our. We don't have this situation where people can do this anymore. So now the Mishnah Berura steps in. Lo nira le'ni is daiti. It doesn't appear to be so.
In my
humble opinion. Ni is daiti. My humble opinion.
אחד דברי הרשב"א אינם מוסכמים לכולי עלמא. One is according to the Rashba, we do not. I don't know, muskamim?
That it's agreed upon. The kuliyama.
According to everybody.
So first of all, I mean, the Mishnah was assuming that you know what's going on with the Rishonim over here, but we'll get to that soon. He says, first of all, he's arguing with the Chayadim that what the words of the Rashba, they're not completely accepted by everybody. That's number one. Why?
Midat haravad,
Arrived.
hu b'tshuva harashba, dechov alav lachazot haler. That he has an obligation to go back and pray.
I mean,
According to the Rabbah, the
Right.
Ravid.
Did it mean
So the Ravid is contrary to the Rashba, who's contrary to the Chayyadam.
right? The Chayyadam seems to be basing his understanding on the Rashba.
Right.
But even within the Rashba, he already mentioned the opinion of the Ravid, and the Ravid says you got to go back. You don't know if you davened or not. What you got to do, go back, right? Thinking about it, the dove is, again, we haven't seen it inside, but apparently the way it's presented to us, that the Ravid says you have an obligation to go back. You don't know if you daven, you must go back, right?
ואפילו לדעת הרשב"א, גם כן יש לחלק מהה בסעיף ד'. And even according to Shra, we have to differentiate between here and Sif Dalet, which I don't know what we're doing there. The Sham Aryeh B'mitpalel.
Maybe let's jump to Sif Dalet and let's take a look what it says over there. We'll turn the page, and you have Sif Dalet, the end of the simon.
Arotze Leitpal Tfilah Nedava. Somebody wants to pray a voluntary prayer.
Right.
Sarich Sheyehem Makir Tasmo. He has to know himself. Shezazir V'Zahir Ve'amit Beidato. He has to be very careful and I guess organized in his mind,
Right.
that he can that Sheyuchal Lekam Yiflah Merosh, so that he has to be able to concentrate from the beginning to the end of the Amidah. But if he cannot concentrate very nicely, lama li rov zivtan, why am I bringing your sacrifices? As it says, you should at least be able to concentrate on the 3 tefillos of the day. So in other words, he's saying, don't add more.
Right. Saying, unless you're sure of yourself, right?
Yeah, don't add more.
Don't add more. It's enough if you just get away with fulfilling your obligation to daven properly for the 3 prayers you need to do out of your obligation. And if you're going to try and add on by making a tefillas nadava, a free will, voluntary offering of a prayer to Hashem, you've got to be very sure of yourself that you're not going to make any hefsik, any interruptions in your level of concentration. And if you can't do it, don't do it. Right?
But I feel like that's
It's like bringing a gift to the king. You want to bring a gift to the king, right? Right. So if you're, since especially American guys like us, we don't know much about kings, but you think it's a nice thing to be visiting the king. You don't want to visit the king. The king can look at you and he doesn't like the way your eyebrows look. Just put him in the gallows. And you'll be finished. They don't really want to get close to the king, right? And here you want to bring a gift to the king. If the king's not happy with your gift, it's better you didn't bring it, because you're going to throw the gift away, and you might wind up in the garbage before the gift.
Isn't that assuming that it's an evil king?
No, any king.
Any king could do that, but
Right.
would any king do that?
Yeah.
A nice king would do that?
But kings. We don't concentrate today on what a king had the power. I mean, I heard a story with the Ramah, where the king told him to do something against halacha, and he was almost ready to do it. A miracle happened. He stopped it, but he was afraid. We're talking about the Ramah. I mean, the Ramah today we know the Ramah's name better than the king. And the king bowed down to him and apologized. A king didn't need that power. The king just went like this. It happens today with dictators. We don't understand what a king is. We think a king of a president because we live in a country with a president or prime minister. But if you have a country where you have dictators and you have kings and they go like this and they kill you, you have to change your focus of what we're talking, of what we're used to. And if you can't do that, then it's very hard to understand these things. That's what I think. I mean, that's my humble opinion.
No, we don't. I'll give you an example. I have a friend. He was born in Russia, Moscow, and So before he got into that whole situation, he was involved with this and that, whatever the kids. I don't even know too much about the details, but he was involved with a certain government official, right? And he had this office, not much, and just the walls and an office, and two phones on the desk. And he's talking to this fellow, and one of these two phones rings. As soon as it rings, this guy starts breaking out in sweat. Breaking out in sweat, because who's ever on the other side of that line, he's not interested in talking to him, right? If you say the wrong thing, he doesn't know what they're gonna. We don't have an understanding.
No, we don't have an understanding. I have a little, because of where I was born, even though I was young, so I have an understanding of what was born.
Morocco had a king, no?
What? Morocco had a king, but Baruch Hashem, Morocco, they respect the Jews. They respect the king, not the people. Okay. So Baruch Hashem, but the police. My mother was beaten up in jail. So you don't understand that. They came in and they were hanging laundry. So an Arab claimed that she spit on him. That's the worst sin. And they came and they arrested my mother, beating her up on the way to the station. They hit her in the thing. So I mean, it would never happen over here. It would never happen anywhere. That you have freedom. But if you have, these kind of dictatorships, that's the way it is.
So you didn't want to get close to the king, because if he doesn't like a gift, if he likes roses and you brought him lilies, he's, it's better not to bring a gift to the king.
You see the mafia movie, the Godfathers,
Right.
They were the Godfathers. They weren't kings.
Yeah.
People used to come up to them. If you don't mind, I'm sorry, please, I'm having a problem. The respect they had just for the Godfather. Forget the king. Think about that along those lines. You're not going to cross that person.
So that's the point. You have to be very sure of yourself that you're going to be able to do this tefillas nadav in the most proper way. Because if not, it's better not to bring it. So let's go back to the Berura. That's what's being referred to over here. Then maybe start again top line. Lo nir elini's daiti. Doesn't appear to me.
According to my humble opinion. Echad the divrei Rashba einam muskamim l'kol alman. Because the words of the Rashba is not agreed by everybody. Kidat haravid huva b'tshuva Rashba, and because according to the Ravid, in the tshuva of the Rashba, the chov alav lachzor that he has an obligation to go back and pray. V'afilu that Rashba, and also according to the Rashba, gam ken yesh lechalek me'ad desif dalet, that we have to argue according to the other paragraph. Kesham ari b'mipalastam b'torah dar, that there we're talking about he's just doing it Torah nadav, a voluntary tefillah for no reason. Shal yafik karinan bey. There it was nicely put together. Lama li rov zivchechem. Why do I need your sacrifices? Dedai bekorbanot tatami atmidim v'chein b'shlosha tefilot kavod. That's enough with the regular sacrifice, the daily sacrifices, and it's enough with the 3 regular prayers. Aval v'zeh sherotze leipalel kedei latzet yedei sfekel. But here that he wants to pray because he's not sure if he already said it. Dinu kemoshar tefilot tzarach lechatchila lehishtadel lekaber. It's the prayers of this is like all the other prayers, that you have to try your best to be able to concentrate. Uvedi'eved die in lokim and rat avos, and if he couldn't, at least he should do it for the others.
So this is the main point here. Meaning, this person is not
doing an adava, he's doing a regular Shemona Esrei.
This is Sif Aleph. He's a Mesupik. He's in doubt whether he davened or not. Sif Dalet is talking about a person who is wanting, he's davened 3 times.
Right.
He wants to add an extra nadava.
Right.
So then he's got to put forth for his absolute, full, perfect efforts, and if not, it's better he doesn't do it.
Right.
Here, this person's Mesupik. So the fact that he's Mesupik, and as the Mishna says in the Berura, he wants to be Yotze Dechava, so he wants to fulfill his suffix requirement of having to pray, because he maybe didn't and maybe he did, right? So therefore it's like any other prayer which you're obligated to do, in which case, true, you have to mechaben. You have to concentrate throughout the whole of each and every one of our Shemona Esrei, Shachris, Mincha, and Ma'ariv. But we just got through saying even 1 in 1,000 doesn't do it. But since it's an obligation, you've got to try your best. And if you can't do any better, at least do it for Avos, do it for the first major bracha of the Shemona Esrei. And then you'll try and catch yourself and keep yourself in check with your concentration as much as possible without the whole rest of the Shemona Esrei. So this is like that as well. This is not like Sif Dalet where it's either do or die. You do it right or you don't do it at all. Right? This is you have to do it because you have to fulfill your suffix. You have a doubt whether you did it, so you have to fulfill your doubt and satisfy your doubt. Okay, let's continue.
ועין בביאור הגרוע בסעיף ד' וכן משמע לא של השולחן ערוך להמעיין. And this is the language of this is like we understand from the Shulchan Aruch. What's the Hamayin?
The Hamayin, to the one who looks into it, I think.
The high dina deceived dal eino shach klal l'hadisfika hatpaler b'besif aleph. That what's saying in number 4 has nothing to do with number 1. It's two separate things. One is you forgot, one is you're not sure, and one is you want to do. Ella inyan b'fnei atzmo. It says something by itself. V'chein b'chol ha'poskim harishon v'acham shera'iti lo nisam shum remesh ha'yom ishtar zadid. That in all the Rishonim Acham that I looked, and I didn't see that this halacha was changed. V'gam haderech hachaim v'agraz v'ashulchan shlomo heitiku ha'shulchan aruch v'halacha. And they pass on like the shulchan aruch according to halacha. So if you forgot, you go back and say it regular, and if you want to do, you have to be careful.
Right.
Basically, that's what it comes out.
Two different halachas.
Two different halachas.
Okay.
My question is,
yes, sure.
Based on what we said over here, why would we think that? Like when you read over here, it says we're talking about somebody who forgot.
Good.
Oh no, he does put 2 on the dot. He probably developed it. He does put it in. Okay.
Yeah, I mean
he added in this one, and that's what mixes everything up. Yes.
Right. It's not 100% cut and dry and cut.
No, in the part of it forgetting, yes, but then when he says so that's what mixes you up. The second line mixes you up with the first line. That's what I think was the that's what I found why the whole thing came here.
Right, because again the Mechaber says who misupak imispal, a person who's doubtful as to whether he davened or not. What should he do? Chosu mispal.
Right.
So the ein tzorech laHaKodesh shum davar. Period. That's the dry halacha.
That's right.
You misupik. What's your halacha? Go and pray,
right.
And you don't even have to mechadesh anything.
Right.
Avo im bor lo yispal. Eina chosu mispal below kiddush.
That's what.
What's this? Why is this coming in here? I mean, we're talking
because
about
we're not sure. A person who's not sure has to have something new. If he's not sure, because it might be, it might not be, so he has to have a backup of both. One who doesn't remember at all, he just does it. But if you're not sure, then you're in the suffix line. You're in the suffix. You can't say regular, so you have to have something a chiddush. If you have to have a chiddush, then you have to have concentration. So that's a difference. But he put them both together. It would have made another paragraph here. We would not have gotten mixed up.
right. So what does it mean? Avoim bar lo shispalel.
If he's not sure if he davened,
But it says avoim bar li lo. If it's clear to him that he davened,
eno chozum
kiddush.
That's right. So he has to, because that means he wants to do it. Then he's doing it in the double.
So that's Dalit already.
That's Dalit. That's
so
right.
Why put that
You're
in?
right. So that's what we're saying. That he should have made another paragraph between this and Aval. Should have made another paragraph because the first one was a definite. Everybody agrees with him on the first one.
Right.
From the second, from Aval on, is where the Machlokes starts, and he wasn't separated. That's what I think. My humble opinion.
No, that sounds reasonable. Okay, let's go back to the Mishna. We'll begin the Mishna again.
Okay.
The previous page.
If when it comes to Kriya Shema, You have to go back to some Zion if you forgot, if you're not sure if you did said it. Chozer mitpal, he goes back and prays. Umatne ve'omer, he says, Im lo yipalati.
Umatne, he makes a conditional statement, right?
Wait a
Umatne,
minute. Okay. Umatne, he makes a conditional, he says, Im itpalati tehei lechovati. If I did not pray, it should be what I had to pray. It should be on the dava. Even though all the suffix of brachos, according to the rabbis, we are lenient. In any case, he should go and he should pray even a Torah Nedava as an offering, because we should we should be able to pray all day long. Right. But wait a second, Yechozer Mipalel here, unless he's going to say something later on, was on a definite. On a definite, we say we don't have to say that. Am I wrong?
Here, no, in Suffolk, he used Musupik. Chozer l'spalel, ve'en tzorach l'chadish klum davar, right?
No, but it says umatne ve'omer.
Right.
Right at the beginning, im lo yipalati. Oh, okay. But then he still does not have to have something from the dove on this.
Right. Meaning,
okay.
It's different than an dove because it's like he's in doubt, so he doesn't know. So, but he's got to say a tonight because maybe he did daven.
Right.
So first of all, it's easy. It's easy if he did not daven. Im lo spalti, right.
That's what he
wasn't. If he didn't daven, this is my well, in the case if he did daven. So now we have to make this in a dava.
But then does he have to have something in mind?
Oh, so that's the question. That's the point. If he's the question is as follows: since he has to make this tonight because he's in doubt,
right?
He on one hand maybe did daven,
right?
On the other maybe he didn't. So if on the hand that he didn't daven, he's obligated to daven, and he's going to daven straight like regular. Let's say he did daven already. So what's this down that he's doing now? So we have to make it on that chance. He's going to have to make this in a dava. So if it's in a dava, why shouldn't it fit into all the criteria, requirements of Sif Dalit?
But then he has to have full concentration.
Right.
If he can't have full concentration, it's better for him not to daven.
Right. So that's what the Berura said. Here it's not like that because here his obligation is because of suffix. By Nadava, he has no obligation.
Right. Nadava, but the problem is that by saying if it's a Nadava, does he have to have the concentration of a Nadava at the same time?
No, that's the Chiddush of the Bir Halacha. Bir Halacha that's where he's arguing with the Chayadim, right? The Chayadim obviously was holding that if he's going to daven as a suffix, and therefore a Nadava to fulfill his suffix, he has to daven according to all the rules of Nadava. Mishna says no. This is not a regular Nadava. A regular Nadava is he's fulfilled all of our obligations have been fulfilled. He's now coming with a perfectly absolute free will voluntary offering. That has to be with all the conditions of Sif Dalit. Here it's different. Here it's on tonight.
But he's saying here you should do that tonight. Yeah. So the question is, when he's saying this, does he have to have in his concentration as a nedava the whole time, even though it could be that it's not a nedava?
No, that's what they go a few lines further in the Mishna.
Okay.
He's going to do it.
And now that he's going to go and pray for a suffix, he doesn't need a chidush, right? That there's nothing more a chidush bigger that he's yotze his suffix. So basically,
that's your answer.
That's basically he just keeps on doing it. That's it.
That's right.
Kata b'derech chaim, yirod derech chaim. The arbis b'suffix eino tzarech lazli pala tila shmona esrei. That if he's not sure, if he daven mar, he does not have to say shmona esrei. Dikva'u ha'chova b'vadai lo b'suffix. Because it was an obligation, and therefore it's not a suffix.
I mean, because the Mariv, which was originally a Rishus,
right.
That was only established when you had a Vadai Chiyuv.
Okay.
And so here's a suffix
Uh-huh,
here.
uh-huh.
So he's saying it by the Derek Hakai was saying you
Right.
don't have to daven even a suffix. You don't have to daven Ma'ariv again.
Medivrei Aprimigadim mashma rak the ein chof alav the kul alma. And according to Bigan, he doesn't have any obligation to go on. Ein sham. Aber lechatchila nachon shu yachzu v'yipalo gam arbit. Lechatchila is better if he does even repeat arbit. Ki be'emet gam arbit afilu leman de'amar reshut mikol mach melchid mitzvah. That even according to the person says that it's a reshut, it's still a mitzvah to do it. U'meila mashi yatsa yedis veiko nechshav kechidush gam be'arbit. And this that he has a suffix is nechshav kechidush gam. It'll be not obligatory. It'll be thought as if he as something that he has to for Mar.
All right, we'll go
In other words, you shoot it again.
Yeah, we'll go over this last point tomorrow.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you, Rabbi.